guys. Finally got around to doing some more videos. I want to talk about something. It kind of pertains to all martial arts, not just us. And that's going to be a block becoming a strike and a strike becoming a block. Now, I think I've mentioned this a few times, but I'm not sure if I really got in depth on it. So it's important to understand that what looks like a block isn't always a block. What looks like a strike isn't always a strike. Good example would be what they call the shuto uke, or the knife hand block. Never in my life have I ever used this technique to block anything. It is used, the full technique is more of a parry and a strike. If you break down, especially if you learn like the Shotokan katas or various other forms of karate, where the technique is taught here. Now I didn't get the stance exactly right, but the technique is here. I'm going to parry a strike, grab, and pull them into this, and I'm striking the neck. So that's a good example. That is not quite the example I wanted to go for, though. It's called a shoot or a knife hand block, but it's not a block. It's a strike. However, for instance, Posai or Basai. There's a part of the kata where you turn and you block and then you block again. Well, I don't understand it as that in the sense of why would I block twice and then turn my back on the guy? I'm thinking in terms of I block, and this is a strike that comes to the side of the head, which is a knockout blow. That's what it's intended. So the block becoming the strike and the strike becoming the block actually bleeds over into fighting. It's not just kata. So I'll be honest, from now on, when I mention kata, I will only be talking about like the Shotokan katas. The katas we do for Kaji Kimbo, it's not secretive, but they're not like everyone else's. You can find them. You can find them on YouTube. But some of them are not exactly the same as everybody else's. There's minor tweakings, and that's just part of the system. So instead of looking at one set of katas that one person does, it may not be the way somebody else is, and trying to explain it. We're not doing that. So the Shotokan katas are the ones I'll be mentioning. That's going to be it. But when we talk about blocks becoming strikes and strikes becoming blocks, a good example would be the one from Basai, but also that's a good example. I'm sorry, that's the best example I can come up with. Another example of it would be a punch actually becoming a block as you extend your arm to keep something from hitting you. It's not necessarily a high block, it's just kind of like you're going for the punch and you're blocking the strike at the same time. Which leads me to the next point of blocking and striking at the same time. It's important, that's very important, and when it comes to fighting, to learn to block and strike at the same time. If you spend too much time pulling the block, strike scenario, you're going to get yourself into trouble. Now there is one of the katas we do where that's exactly what you do the entire kata. You're sitting there doing your blocking, striking, and blocking block strike, you're using the same hand that you're going to be striking with to block with. That is very important when it comes to fighting. If you do not know how to block and strike at the same time, strike with the same hand, you're going to get yourself in trouble, a lot of trouble. That's why I prefer like this, such moves like Shotoge or the inside middle block, which actually can become a hammer fist. There's lots of them. There's lots of them. There's a lot out there. There's simply double forearm block, which that is just a block, but used in a very defensive manner, you can block, push, and you can get your opponent off balance. We're going to leave off balancing, or what they call kazushi, to a different video. That's a very deep, very important aspect that needs to be talked about, and I like to spend a lot more time on it. So remember that while you're doing your punching, you need to keep your guard up. Remember that if they're punching at you, you can use that same punch that you're going to hit with, to deflect and strike them at the same time. You're going to block and strike at the same time. It cuts down on a lot. It gives you the advantage. Please work with those things, play with them. Throw that into your little flow routine. And just to reiterate on what flow is where you throw a series of techniques that have a natural follow through with them. But it's also important to know that you need to be throwing the right technique at the right time for the right part that you're wanting to strike. You throw a technique for a spot that's not open, it's not going to work. However, if you're going along, boom, 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 this guy's blocking, but you realize he's got his groin, boom. Now you've got him open, you've got that target. So work on your flow, work on coordinating, blocking and striking at the same time. It's very important. Yeah, just keep that in mind. We're going to start talking a lot more Kajukenbo things. I'm working with Professor Shepard. Been a very patient man with me. He's done a lot to teach me the lineage of a great man, Sam Lone Wolf, and we're being grafted into the Tony Lassett, Sam Lone Wolf, Baron Shepard branch of Kajukenbo. So we're working on that. We are working on that. This is not a formal announcement. When Professor Shepard says to me, hey, you have the go-ahead, I will let everybody know. But until that time, I am a Kajukenbo practitioner, not an instructor on that. So I don't want to get myself in trouble. I really do appreciate all that Professor Shepard has been doing for me, and the information that he has provided me, and the tips and things that he has sent me. And I need to get back with him on the progress I've been making on my studies on the things in Kajukenbo that he informed me of. So, hey guys, be safe out there. Keep your hands up. Literally, keep your hands up. Keep your eyes open. Be safe out there.